Joining me in the studio is Alexandra Holroyd, the En Marche French Assembly member for French nationals living in Northern Europe, including those living here in the UK. Welcome to you. These bilateral meetings have been in the calendar in recent years on a regular basis. Is this one more significant than most, do you think?
I think all of them are significant, but this one has a particular significance because considering the situation, I think it's an important moment to sort of note and to make absolutely clear that the franco-British relationship is an incredibly strong bilateral relationship. And whatever happens in months, years to come, it will remain an incredibly close bilateral relationship.
I mean, is that President Macron's message today that, you know, as far as Britain and the UK are concerned, France and the UK are concerned, that the EU is almost a side issue?
I think the message is absolutely that we have a number of sort of shared issues, we have a number of shared security risks, and that our armed forces, our agencies work day in, day out, hand in hand, and they will continue to work day in, day out, hand in hand in years to come.
I mean, suggestion that, you know, he's going to send the Bayeux tapisserie on a visit to the UK, but at the same time, he's got more money for Calais and he's got Britain contributing to French military efforts in Africa. So he's got the whip hand in this one, hasn't he? Well,
I wouldn't say it like that. I mean, our armed forces have potentially, I think, one of the closest relationship two countries have anywhere in the world. We have French officers in British planes, there are British officers in French planes. This is quite a unique relationship which has been built over decades. You were saying that there are regular meetings. I think this is the 35th summit. So that relationship has to continue, and what I think the President's message today will be that there is a strong commitment to France, so that partnership will continue in years to come.
And an acceptance from France that you don't really want to change the nature of the border arrangements at Calais and along the coast. I mean, obviously you want to strengthen them, but you don't really want to change, for example, where passports are checked and things like that.
What we want to do is improve a number of issues which are a problem for both countries. So if you think, for instance, of the fight against smuggling, smuggling criminal networks, this is an issue where both countries can work very efficiently together within the framework of those agreements. And so those are the kind of issues where we're absolutely staunchly committed to working with the British government to ensure safer security passage in Calais.
I mean, how would you describe the competition between France and Britain? I mean, they are neighbours. They historically have gone to war, as we're reminded by the Bayeux tapisserie, but also have been allies over a period. I mean, would you describe it as healthy competition, or is this now a moment where France is on the up and sees an advantage of scoring at the expense of the UK?
I think it always has been a healthy competition. I mean, if you think of the Bayeux tapestry, it's about 950 years old. But the truth is, both our countries have fought side by side in the last 250 years, or 220 years. Since then, in every single conflict, they've been side by side. So I think that relationship has been incredibly close for the last century and a half, and will continue to be so in the future.
I mean, one British columnist in the Financial Times said that the fact of the matter is, when Britain's up, France tends to be down a bit, and when France is up, Britain tends to be down a bit. Do you think that's fair?
No, I think there are moments where both countries are up. There are moments where both countries are going in the same direction. I just think that genuinely the best moments are where both countries are working together. That's the sort of winning formula for both countries.
Now, tell us about this tapestry diplomacy, if I can put it that way. I mean, whose idea was it to do this, and what is President Macron trying to say by the offer of sending the Bayeux tapestry here?
Well, I can't tell you whose idea it was. I imagine it was the President's idea. But what I think is, it's a symbol, but it's also a very real and concrete symbol of the cultural ties which unite both our countries, and which have united both our countries for years and decades past. And there are a number of frameworks, for instance, exchanges. There's a very good sort of future Leaders Youth Programme, which have to be strengthened to ensure that over the years to come we continue building those cultural ties, which have sort of an impact in fostering that, you know, a healthy bilateral relationship. And so the tapestry is really a symbol of those.
So it's really saying, you know, even if you want to or think you are through Brexit, you can't turn your back on France and Europe.
Well, I think there's a geographical, you know, there's a geographical reality is that France and the UK will always be just a few miles apart, and that we have a long history together, and that we want to work together, because those are the best. I mean, working together is genuinely the best way of fixing some of the issues that we're facing, and which are the same issues.
Mr. Holroyd, thank you very much. I don't know, do you use the Yorkshire pronunciation, Holroyd, or how do you say your name?
Holroyd.
Holroyd. Monsieur Holroyd, merci beaucoup.